And welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. As you see, we have stars behind us. That's when you know that we're mean business. We got stars behind us. Welcome, folks, to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. News and rumors going on in professional wrestling. We're going to start this. Tony Khan got a little upset because people are saying that Adam Cole is not being used right in AEW. Took really offense to it and said that they just don't know. So are they going to do the old where the fans just don't understand type deal? I don't ask you. Do you think Adam Cole's being used correctly in AEW?
Well, every time he goes to the ring, he gets one of the biggest pops of the night. So if that's not being used correctly, I guess I just don't understand even more than I didn't think I understood.
Rodney, have you seen this?
I have not, but Mr. Khan needs to not worry about what they're saying and just continue doing what you're doing, because he cannot be distracted. Because if he's got a plan, he doesn't need to be distracted by criticism for critics. He needs to stick with the plan.
Well, they're criticizing because he's doing all comedy stuff, and they say he's better than that. And to a certain extent, I believe he shouldn't be doing. They should take him away from the Young Bucks. Maybe that's the problem. But Tony Khan takes too much time on social media to argue with people. I think Trish Stratus is returning, and I'm going to watch it. I believe it may be Raw. It could be SmackDown on December the 29th. Is that a Monday? Is that a Friday, December 29th?
Hold on, I can bring it up.
But Trish Stratus is returning to the WWE. They don't know what.
No, that's a Wednesday, and that is a house show. She's going to be the guest. But now I did hear that they have postponed that show.
I heard they canceled those shows. Yeah.
Because they had a TV taping scheduled for New Year's Eve. I don't know who brilliantly scheduled that, but they have canceled and moved that particular town till sometime in March.
Well, that's probably not a good time. I mean, if they wasn't drawing prior to that, they probably wasn't going to draw on those days. The Undertaker did his Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling. Did you see this, Jack?
I saw it, but I didn't punch the link to find out who he picked.
Ric Flair was in this, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Ric Flair was in this. Steve Austin, I believe himself might have been in there. I'm not for sure. No, I'm just joking. He was not. He was not on there. He didn't. I had it wrote down on another sheet of paper. But Rodney, do you remember who the Mount Rushmore?
I don't know. Ric Flair was on there for sure.
Yeah, Ric Flair was on it, and Steve Austin was on it as well. I think Shawn Michaels was on the Mount Rushmore as well. And I'm just for it's just lost.
Was it Hulk? Was it Hulk Hogan?
No.
It's not Hulk Hogan. Okay.
Hulk Hogan was not on.
Randy Savage? Yeah. I'll just run some names down. We'll get
no, Randy Savage wasn't on.
Was not Randy Savage on there?
No, there was not Randy Savage.
Apparently, I would say it was in Kane.
I don't think nothing. No defense.
Well, that's going to be an awkward Christmas dinner if it's not.
It's Kane.
Paul Tell me about that. Do y'all have a Mount Rushmore of wrestling? Do y'all have like 4 people you just think should be on the?
I don't have a Mount Rushmore, but I do have portalettes that I've dedicated for several wrestlers over my lifetime. No Mount Rushmores. But I got several crappers that I've dedicated to many of them.
Oh man. Oh man.
I do have a Mount Rushmore. Okay. That would be Lou Thesz, Terry Funk, Mr. Wrestling number 2, and Harley Race.
There you go. I would agree with all those. Did y'all see the fan that attacked Seth Rollins?
I did. I saw that. Yeah.
Man, that guy come from. It's like he come from nowhere. Speared him and just took him right down. Busted Seth Rollins' nose and everything. A lot of people thought he should beat the guy up, but I didn't see that necessary. Did y'all?
No, it's a different day and time, and I saw that. I saw a lot of guys, a lot of older guys our age, a little bit older, that they're talking, well, back in our day, we would have killed him. Well, yeah, but it was different back in our day. Now, whether it was the fans' fault or whatever, you just can't beat people up anymore. You just can't.
Yeah,
There's too much liability there. I thought he did great. He contained the guy real quick, got out from under him. The referees were spot on. They were where they needed to be as soon as they could get there. And I thought they did a great job. By then, security got there. My understanding is one of their longtime security guys got fired. I'm not sure if it was over that, but a few days later, after 17 years of faithful not letting people jump the barricades, I guess he found new pastures to go to.
Ron, did you see this?
No, I've heard about it, but I was watching. But I was watching. Well, it was Raw, right? That happened at. I didn't ever see it. Of course, they probably had delay, so they probably cut it out.
They did cut it out. This was a fan. The one that we're seeing is somebody was at ringside, and I guess they were taping it. It was good quality though. It must have been one of those new iPhones, but it looked great. But I thought he did what he should.
So you think the spear looked good from the fan?
Yeah, I thought I gave it. I pulled up and put the 10 up there. I thought it was a good 10.
Spear. So it's a possibility that is he big enough that he could wrestle?
That guy was a lot bigger than Seth Rollins. I'll be honest. He couldn't see him until he was there. And as big as he was, as big as I am, he would have took me down the same way. There was just no way to avoid that. Not the way it was set up.
That was and what he says. This is what the guy said, that he thought that Seth Rollins got him for $3,000. And what it was is somebody that said it was Seth Rollins had scammed him out of $3,000. So he was going there to get his money back, I guess, out of his hide. Then he found out it was not Seth Rollins, it was somebody else. Boy, I bet he felt pretty bad after that. He probably thought, oh, it wasn't him? Well,
yeah, he apologized.
I spared the wrong dude. I'm sorry. I should find that thing. Did y'all hear this story of Tony Storm and the pie in the face problem?
I saw that. I saw that on SmackDown. Go ahead.
Well, Charlotte Flair was only supposed to hit her with one pie. She ends up hitting her with two.
Oh.
Tony Storm gets all upset. Comes back in the dressing room, they said, after it was over with, and said, why did you hit me with a second pie? She said, I just felt like it should have been done. She said, this is ad-lib. Sometimes you just ad-lib. Well, wasn't supposed to do that. Now, I believe Tony Storm paid her back on Raw this week, right?
Right. Well, SmackDown.
Did she throw two at her so she'd be happy?
No, just one. I think it only hit her one.
She should have just went over there and gave her two.
Again, another one of these behind the scenes nonsense that they're promoting to get this friction. But that's what I figure. I mean, who would get mad about that? You took one, but you wouldn't take two. I mean, how stupid can you be?
Well, if you think about it, though, she did look kind of shocked. Like, what am I supposed to do now?
Well, same thing you were doing before with one pie, selling it.
Exactly right. Why didn't she run after her? That's the question. Why didn't she grab some of that stuff off of there and instead of standing there like,
there was a big turkey there. She could have hit her with a turkey.
That's right. She could have drumsticked her to death.
Talking about drumsticks.
Okay.
Do you know that there was the magazine in maybe England that said that during the Smoky Mountain wrestling times that the gangsters would attack people with watermelons and fried chicken. Did y'all know that? This was done. This was in England. Jim Cornette tells the story about it. If you go there, it's on YouTube. He tells the whole story about it. He said that never happened ever in Smoky Mountain wrestling history. He said, I don't even know how you would do that. When you talked about the chicken, I thought, man, why would anybody think that would happen in the United States? But they believe it. And see, Cornette was all upset about it. And I could see him why he'd be upset about it. It's never happened. I just thought that was a crazy story.
Crazy people. Why would you make something? Why would they think that it had to be a joke that somebody took and made a rumor out of it?
I hope so.
Had to be, because no, I don't recall seeing that.
That's a crazy story. Netflix. Did you hear what they paid for Vince McMahon to do the little egg story on the Survivor Series, and the next night, I guess, was on Raw? Did y'all see how much that was?
I didn't see the exact amount. I heard it was significant.
Almost like $1.7 million.
Hey, I'd have done an egg thing too.
They got, Pizza Hut. They're the ones that actually sponsored the Battle Royal on Survivor Series. There were Pizza Hut pizzas all the way around the ring, and Pizza Hut did that. Well, why? People are getting all upset over it. But let's be honest with you. If somebody will give us a pizza, we would be eating it right now if they'd give us money to do it.
Sure.
I'm trying to wait for the cigar company to come on board.
I mean, it just
sure.
No.
You wouldn't say, if Pizza Hut wants to give you money, you're not going to say, no, I don't want that. That's dumb.
Cody Rhodes. Let's talk about AEW for just a second. Did y'all see the burning table?
Yeah.
Ratings fell, which I thought it would after a 22-minute interview, or they call promo these days. Our father always said, the worst thing you can do in a wrestling company is talk. It's the worst thing you ever do. You'll kill your ratings in no time flat. People want to see wrestling. They want to see talking. If they want to see talking, they would have turned on a talk show. They wouldn't turn on wrestling. I mean, would you turn on a football game and want to hear 22 minutes of talking before the football game started? And I'm talking about not the pregame stuff. I'm talking about the actual game.
No. He always said that you need to get to the ring as soon as possible, as soon as the open of the show. Get to the ring as soon as possible.
For a long period of time, you'll remember Georgia Championship Wrestling started the matches as they were going. The matches already started. The matches already so-and-so, and then they did the talking. Why would they do what purpose did it serve to Jack? I'll ask you this question if you've seen it. What purpose did that serve? But just to basically hurt Cody, it just made no sense to me.
I don't get it. It was not needed. It didn't add anything to the story they were telling in the ring. The injuries we saw. I don't know if y'all saw the pictures. I saw the pictures afterwards. Intelligent people don't do that. I mean, I'm just saying. He must have got a bonus check for that. But his skin was peeling before the match started, because apparently they had practiced the spot earlier in the day and he had already got burned. and I don't do flaming tables. It was never a part of my repertoire at all. But my understanding is that if you're going to set a table on fire, you do it with rubbing alcohol because it goes out quicker. Now, from what everybody was saying that was watching, they used actual lighter fluid, which is harder to go out. And obviously, I mean, that table peeled off on his back, which added, to the injury. I don't know, man. It was just great. And here's the thing that got me more than anything was Andrade missed the table. He just missed the table. It was all Cody. I even shared a meme somebody had made. I don't remember who it was. I'd give him credit, but it was Brandy, his wife, standing there, and you can see her looking at all the flames coming up, going, "That's fine."
By the way, Brandy is the one that sets it on fire. Next time they'll probably want her to go through the table, and that will get the ratings. So that's one thing we did.
I'd pay.
Roddy, did you see this?
I did not, but I'm sure that this is Cody's idea. I've got a brilliant idea. Let's set a table on fire and slam me through it. This is my great idea. This will get a lot of talk. The ratings will shoot through the roof. It will be one of the best moments in television, watching me get thrown in through a a flaming table.
It seems to me like he's trying so hard to remain a babyface, and the fans don't want him to be a babyface anymore.
No.
They just flat don't like him. And from my perspective, that reality show that he and his wife did made both of them come off as heels. So, why not ride that lightning bolt that's already going?
The classic example of that was the honky tonk man. Nobody was accepting him in the WWF. They had to do it. Why doesn't he? Why try to force something that's just not going to happen? Embrace it and go with it. That's exactly what
Cody's the one who said that there's no more heels and baby faces, and the fans are showing him that he's wrong.
Well, is it that they're wrong, or is he being rejected? There is a such thing as being rejected.
I believe that all of those people are going to end up being rejected. The four core people that's with that territory, they're going to start being booed. And not because they hate them. They just don't want them to see them there. Yeah. Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega. Because they're going to say the only reason they're being pushed because they're executive vice presidents or they're buddies of what's his name. They'll have to get rid of them to be able to go further in that.
So the point would be is that you cannot be executive vice president and a personality on television. You have to pick, right?
Well, I think fans see that as a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Because here you are with four executives and they're in, putting themselves in the top spots.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, and I honestly, may just be me, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that whole thing of Tony Khan coming out here not too long ago and saying, well, they don't really, they're not really in the office anymore. They're not really doing anything. I don't really talk to them. And I really don't believe that.
No, I don't either. I don't either, and I think the fans will turn on that in no time. And before you know it,
what you were saying about the ratings, you said the ratings were down, right? Didn't you say the ratings were down?
860,000 viewers this week. I mean, at some point they had 1.2, and now they're down to 800. And as long as they continue the talk, and not and getting beat up in the dressing room and that type of just continuous behavior just not going to work.
I didn't see how the numbers broke down, but I remember that Tony Khan had made the statement about the numbers overnights that you hear is not indicative to the total numbers because they won't get the recorded numbers in.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, yeah, I record stuff to watch later, with wrestling now. But to me, if you're not having a product on that people absolutely positively want to see live as it happens, then you're not giving them a product they want to see.
It's funny that he says that when now if you go back and do the DVR recordings of the time that he said he defeated Monday Night Raw and defeated WWE, if you go back to the DVRs, that was not the case at this point in time. Now that if you're going to put the DVR in it, they did not beat the WWE.
And what's the answer to that question? Keep your mouth shut about your competition and concern yourself with your own show.
They will continue falling, though. I don't think when you look at something, I don't believe. Unfortunately, I think they're trying too hard for their heels to be heels. They're trying too hard, and they're trying to do too much behind the scenes stuff that wrestling fans don't understand. That the diehards understand, but someone just watching it goes, I don't even get it. They'll get it. And they'll just turn it off because they don't get it because they're not sitting reading watching all the shit. They're not doing that. Maybe some of the people have a life. They don't live wrestling 24 hours a day. So they just didn't understand it. So they turned it off. They have to be able to see it. That they have to see it's got to be part of the show and not behind the scenes stuff. People just, I think even WWE is making a mistake on that. Nobody knows what's happening and they don't care. Let the story tell itself in the show. Bruce Pritchard and Miz get into an argument, and they say you could hear the argument through the dressing room. Miz has not been used correctly in WWE.
No.
Glorified basically will push him and he'll do a job. And basically that's happened to him since he's been there.
Yeah.
We'll push him, get a job. He'll get beat. Push him, he'll get beat. They never really give him the opportunity to really shine. And he's always the guy that's going to get beat. The same thing is happening to Bobby Roode. Is that his name? Or
Yeah.
Robert?
Bobby Roode.
The same thing is happening to what the guy that Rodney don't like there. And
Ziggler.
Mm-hmm.
It's just these guys are too good to be doing what they're doing to them. They have beat that Rude guy almost every week on that TV show. And then they'll put them against somebody and they'll wonder why the ratings go down. Well, I don't know. You beat them for 5 weeks on television. You put him on, people turn the channel because they know he's not going to win. And if he does win, you just killed the guy that he got beat.
They put them in those tag team situations, and they may put tag belts on them, some variation there of those three, and they think they build them, but it is so well known that Vince has no use of tag teams.
Yeah,
it doesn't, that doesn't build anybody. So yeah, I agree. Those three guys, they're great, and I have, I've watched Miz ever since he hit the scene up there. And I always thought that he deserved to have that big main event push. The guy has talent. I mean, he's a natural at what he does. But he's just never been utilized. I mean, they'll utilize him to that point, and then they'll just beat him. Up and down, up and down. There's no consistency. Put him up here and leave him up here for a while. He'll draw money for you. I really think that.
But they're not going to if they continuously do what they do with them. And the next week on Raw, guess what? Dolph will get to do the job for that guy.
Damian Priest. Yeah.
And they just did it. The same thing they just did. They did with Randy Orton and Riddle. I mean, it's just the same show week after week after week after week.
Exactly. Right. One of the big. Go ahead. Never mind.
Go ahead.
Since we were talking about Raw, why in the world would you have a cage match that after you're finished, you're like, what did I just say? I mean, it meant nothing. They had, if you're going to have a cage match, that means all eyes was supposed to be on that show. It was supposed to be a big match. And what came out of it? Nothing. There's nothing that we're talking about. Nobody's talking about that. It was just the same old stuff over and over again. And I'll just be honest, Seth Rollins is one of those people that he's absolutely, for me, unwatchable. And
it is not his fault.
It is not his fault. He is overexposed and he is unwatchable. I'm sure that if I feel that way, I'm sure maybe some do as well. I would hear a clicking sound when he comes on, and he's just about in every segment. And then he wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad this past week, but he's just about in every single segment. And to me, he's just overexposed. And that whole cage match, it set up nothing, absolutely nothing for the big match, the first day match. It doesn't set anything up. It doesn't make
and apparently they may have figured out that finish was not a main event finish, because that was supposed to be the main event, the last match of the night, and instead they flip it to the first. That's what
I'm sure they was wanting to try to hold the rate, have a big rating at the beginning and try to hold the show, but it was predictable, absolutely predictable.
Did they not do the same finish? Almost the same exact finish with Becky Lynch and that Liv as they did on SmackDown? Didn't they almost do the exact same finish?
Well, it was almost the same finish, of her and Charlotte.
I don't know where they're going with this stuff. I really don't. Arn Anderson falls off the stage. Did y'all see him fall off the stage?
I saw that.
At AEW. This is the second time he's fell. He fell off the ring apron not long ago. Is he not watching where he's going, or is he taking his glasses off so he can't see? So
I bet you're right. I bet you he takes his glasses off and can't see. But this week they've changed it up. He's going to start wearing a helmet. And it's a great idea because then he don't have to get completely in the ring. All he has to do is stick his head in the ring, and they can run the guy in his head.
Just think though, he fell on another little table that was below it. Just if it wasn't down there, he'd have hurt himself really bad. Half the people were laughing, half of them was going, "Oh goodness gracious!"
Well,
and there's something else. But
this week he'll have somebody lead him around, so like a CNI dog.
Baszler.
Right.
Did y'all know that she was trained by Billy Robertson? I did not.
Well,
know.
as you're watching her, you can see it. I mean, because she is solid. She is solid.
I did not know this. Jack, you knew it. You knew it already that Billy Robertson had trained her.
I did know that, and I have always wished they would pull the trigger on her and make her the top female because I think she can carry it. I think her in-ring skills are impeccable. I think she's great on an interview. She can do it all. I'm going to tell you why they won't pull it, because she's 40 years old, or almost, anyway.
Well, NIL, WWE's new initiative. It's next in line. It's called Next in Line to WWE. They're going to get all athletes.
Yep.
All athletes. It's in all aspects. A lot of amateur wrestlers is who they're going to go after. I think it's a very smart ideal. Yep. I think they should have an amateur wrestling background first. And then train them to be pro wrestlers. And they're going to be able to be trained while they're still being in an amateur wrestling or any kind of other sport for that. But they want to go after all athletes. Jack, do you agree with this?
I can definitely see their point, and that's their mindset now, is they want to get completely away from independent wrestling entirely. And that way they can bring in these top level athletes. They can teach them their way of doing things. And utilize them, make their own stars. I don't know that they have the capability of making their own stars, but the intent is good. I think it's a solid reasoning behind it. I agree with it.
And I can see why they want to do that. I think that I've always said wrestlers, they're being trained how wrestling's a work when they should be trained in amateur wrestling first and everything as being real. And then train them how to do all the other stuff. Rodney, what do you think? Next in Line is what they call it.
Is this going to be? Is it going to be a separate show?
No, this is not. No. That's
it's just going to be
this will be what NXT becomes in the future. All of these people are going to come in. They're going to train at the training school down there, and whether it takes a year, 2 years, whatever. But they're young. They're in their early 20s. They have plenty of time to develop them. They're going to be cutting those contract deals down initially to like 6 months, I believe is what I read, 3 to 6 months. And they're going to be able to evaluate during that time frame of, hey, you've either got what it takes or you don't. And if you don't, then you're out the door.
Is this the change in the direction from an entertainment to a more sports-oriented show then?
I don't think they're getting off that path at all.
Because those people who come in, I've watched high school football players on television doing interviews with the news program, and they do an awesome job of talking about the game and what happened in the game. They do a great job. So a lot of those people that's going to be coming in that has a sports background will have that background in that kind of legitimate sports background. And so when they do their interview, they come away around as more legitimate.
Well, I think they want athletes instead of actors. I think
and I think I don't think they're going to get away from this comedy and the stuff that they're doing as long as Vince is there. I don't believe that that's going to change because that's what Vince likes.
Yeah, I was all of this big build up last couple of weeks with Austin Theory that just landed flat. That was a disaster. That's no different than what he had been doing prior to even Vince's the encounters with Vince. Should have been stronger, and that's just not going to work. I'm sorry, it's just not going to work.
And that's a good kid. I mean, he's very skilled,
and I think he's definitely in the wrong position. I could see a person that being able to sell, get a lot of sympathy, and I think he's in the wrong position.
But why in the world did they do the same thing with him that they just did with the guy that they just got rid of. I don't care if they got rid of him. They sent him home.
Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy. They just did the same thing with him. They just answered it with him beating the guy up and taking his own selfie. So where are you going to go?
I think what they're doing is they lay out these plans of what they want, and they look at wrestlers as being, you just plug them in or plug them out. I don't believe that the wrestler themselves is important. It's what they consider a story is what they
what we're saying is like soap operas now playing the role of
exactly. Dewdrop it was plugged straight into the what they had planned for Nia Jax.
And I think they missed a great opportunity from last night on Raw of really letting her shine. I think she should have went over last night.
I agree
on that show, because the splash from the second rope should have been over. That match should have ended right there, and I think they missed a great opportunity. But to make her run, I'm not sure that was.
Oh, by the way, on that program, Raw, it must have said, you know what would be good tonight? Let's do 2 countouts. That would just be so good on this.
She just walked out. She walked away from the match.
Well, she still got counted out, and they counted it out, and the Street Profits went against somebody, and they did a count out as well.
Yeah, against AJ Styles and the big guy.
And again, the big guy and AJ Styles, they're having some problems. And then they turned around and did doing the same exact thing later on in the program with 2 other guys. Makes no sense whatsoever why they would just keep on doing that over and over again. By the way, Jerry Lawler re-signed. 72-year-old Jerry Lawler re-signed with the WWE. I did find that to be very funny, because he did say in an interview that WWE was hard to watch sometimes. And then they signed him.
Yeah, like 2 days later.
Well, is he coming back to do commentary?
I don't think so.
No.
Well, I was hoping so, because Corey Graves he is another one that grates on every nerd out there, and he is the main commentator on there. He has the bulk of the talk on this show.
Yeah, and he's dropping hints that he may come back to wrestling.
Well, I would be glad, because that'll get him away from the commentary.
I think the only reason they signed Jerry Lawler, they didn't want him to go to AEW and team up with Jim Ross and be the team again. I think it's the only reason they kept Jerry Lawler, because they ain't done that with him. The only reason he was there Monday nights because they were in Memphis. Yep. Anything else?
Did he ever appear in the crowd other than in that little spot behind the scenes?
I think that was it,
because I don't remember seeing him on the main show at all.
Yeah, well, I kind of liked it though. Yeah. Oh, there he is. I kind of like that gimmick.
The former head writer for WWE, Brian Gerwitz, is releasing a new tell-all book.
Oh, there you go.
Now, as to how much tell-all is going to be, we won't know till the book comes out, of course, but he works for The Rock. He's very instrumental in a lot of the projects that he does. Oh. So, and they've had a long friendship, because he was the one who wrote all of Rock's stuff his entire career.
There we go.
And then we've also, one other thing we want to touch on real quick, WOW, where our friend Bambi is involved in, are doing their first tryouts in Miami, Florida, on January the 19th. So they're going to be advertising. If there's any of you ladies out there watching that want an opportunity, this is your opportunity.
Good deal. Rodney, anything we want to talk about before we leave?
No, I believe that'll do it.
I think we did a lot of talking on this one. It went a little longer than I thought it was going to do. If you enjoyed this video of pro wrestling news and rumors, give us the big thumbs up. Subscribe to the page. Go one step further. Hit that notification bell. It'll let you know every time.
Wait a minute. Notification bell.
There you go. Hit that notification bell. Go one step. Wait a minute. Then
hit subscribe.
I'll tell you what. Just do. Just watch the video that's down below us here.
Comment. Give us a lot of comments.
Yeah, comment. Do you agree with what we said, or do you don't like what we say? Either way.
I say they had Brock Lesnar way too much on SmackDown. They overexposed him way too much. He should have been out there once, but no, he had to be out there the entire show.
They think he's going to bring the ratings back. I hope he does.
Oh, which, by the way, we talked about this before the scenes, but I'll put this out here. Of a 2-hour SmackDown, there was 13 minutes of actual in-ring activity.
And they wonder why 1.9 million people and not 4 watch the show. We'll see you in the next video right here on Pro Wrestling Inside Now.